I'm Elise and today I'm here to walk you through measuring your windows so you can install or create your own curtains and blinds. Measuring your windows isn't hard, but there are a few things to keep in mind so you can accurately measure and get the right size window fittings. For all your measurements, you should always use a metal tape measure with millimetres marked out. Metal is more accurate than a fabric one and it's easy to use because it won't bend as you're measuring. The first thing you need to know is what kind of window you have and where you want to place the curtain furnishings. You'll hang curtains in different places depending on if you have windows with architraves, without architraves, or with recesses. Ask yourself, do you want the curtains to sit in front of the window, or do you want them to hang inside a recessed window? Once you've decided, you'll want to consider what rods or tracks you're using, or if you want things like end caps or other design elements. These will all affect the width of the window furnishings you buy or make. For more information on choosing the right kinds of curtains and blinds for your house, check out our other videos. Windows aren't always square, so you'll need to take your measurements at a few different points across the width and height. Also, don't assume that all windows in your house are the same. Measure each one individually. Let's go through what you need to know. If you're planning on installing or making curtains, you'll need to measure both the width and the height of your windows. First, measure the curtain width. If your window already has hardware, such as a rod or a track in place, simply measure the length of what's already there. Take the distance between the first and the last sliders or rings. If there is no hardware in place, measure the width of the window. If you've decided to hang your curtain on a rod, measure the full width of your architraves or the space above your window. Make sure the width of the curtain will be wider than the full window so you won't let it light in around the edges. If using a wooden curtain rod, you'll need to choose one that is already wider than your window. If you're using an adjustable rod, you can be as accurate as you like. It's better to add a little bit extra to your curtain measurements to be safe, especially in older homes where the windows may not be completely straight. Do not include the finials or end caps of your curtain rods in your measurements. If you're using tracks to hang your curtain, you'll need to decide if the curtain is being mounted to the face of the architrave or inside the window recess. This will determine where you take your measurements from. If your track has an overlap in the centre or a bend on the edges, make sure you take the measurements of the full length of each section of the track. If your tape measure won't bend, try using a piece of string first. If you have an odd size track, don't forget that you can trim your curtains down to fit, so buy a larger pair. Check out our website to see the full range of sizes of curtain rods and tracks available. Then, measure your window height. There are a few places where you can start your measurements, depending on if you have rods or tracks. If you have decided to use tracks, start from the very top of the track and finish at the point you want your curtain to finish. If you have rods, measure the distance from the bottom of the rings on the curtain to where you want your curtain to finish. If you want to hang curtains with eyelets, start at the top of the rod that the eyelets will hang from. Finish your measurement at the point you want your curtain to hang to. You have a few options here, depending on how you want the curtains to look. Measure to the windowsill for a casual look. If you have full-length windows, measure right to the floor. If you want a relaxed look, add about 40 millimetres to the measurement that goes to the floor so that the curtain creates a pull. If you want a formal look, add even more fabric to this floor measurement. About 90 to 120 millimetres looks great in formal dining rooms or living areas. There are two different ways to mount your blinds, and this will determine how you should measure before you purchase or install blinds. Recess fitting is when the blinds sit inside the window recess. You should measure the space within the window recess and take measurements at 3 different points for the width and 3 different points for the drop of the blinds. You'll need to know how deep your recess is. If there are obstructions, like window winders, that will get in the blind's path. And your window type. Is it louvered, hinged, a sliding door, or something else? You'll also need to decide whether you are mounting the blinds to the top or the sides of the recess. This won't change the overall size of your blind, but will help work out where to install the brackets. Face fitting or square set fitting is where the blinds will either be attached to your window architrave or be attached to the wall outside the window recess. If you have architraves, measure from one outer edge to the other. For the length of the blind, measure from the top edge of the architrave to where you want the drop to finish. If you don't have architraves, measure the width of the window recess at an overlap of about 50mm on your width measurement, starting approximately 70mm above the window frame. Measure to the bottom of the recess. Add another 20mm or so to ensure your blind covers the edge. If you're going all the way to the floor, subtract that 20mm to compensate for the base rail hitting the floor. Windows that are an odd or awkward shape could have you scratching at your head when it comes to measuring them. But there's a secret to getting the measurements of unconventional windows right. Measure well beyond the edges. You don't have to get curtains that are in the same shape as your window. They can be different shapes and sizes. Do more with fabric. Curtains are easier to use for oddly shaped windows, not blinds. This is because you can add features like tiebacks to drape and pull your curtains into different directions. If you have arch windows, blinds can work well. Or, for curtains, hang them just below where the arch turns into straight, vertical walls. This looks great and lets you see the window, but it won't block out light. You can also hang them on a straight or curved rod above the window, which does block out light, which is great if your arch windows are in your bedroom. Drop into a Spotlight store for more information on how to measure your windows or pick the right curtains and blinds. Or book a free quote for our at-home made-to-measure service. Go online to spotlightstores.com. Happy decorating!